So, first things first. New beginnings definitely call for new changes. And what better change than to change your dwelling? So, for the past week and a few days ago, Lucky and I took the steps to make move out number 3. And I'm currently in our new apartment, building the furniture and building up my workstation. So I wanted to take this opportunity with you guys to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that's the idea of minimalism, and what it has done for me, and the steps that I took to change my outlook and to change my lifestyle, and to make the positive changes through minimalism. Now, there are many flavors of it, and there definitely is not one specific example of what it means to be a minimalist, but I wanted to document my steps and the steps that I took to change my life and to let go of the things that no longer serve me. And that's a very important footnote there, because it's not only about throwing things away and getting rid of the stuff, but it's living intentionally with the things that you own and the things that you have in your life. So basically, I wanted to document the following steps that I took, and some specific examples and some hardships that I experienced while Lucky and I moved to our new place, and realizing that, I don't need these things anymore. Since we're moving to, a new space, I didn't want to have the hassle of carrying, physically heavy objects, and minimizing the amount of steps that I had to take back and forth during the move. So I wanted to share some examples with you guys, and once we're done setting up our new place, I'm going to show you guys our apartment, and hopefully you guys get inspired by that and to look into your own lives and to see, hey, maybe I can make these changes and find the positive benefits of it and the side effects of what happens when you declutter your life and you're only living with your favorite things and the things that you only need. So I'm going to talk about how I came up with it, how I stumbled upon it, the history of it, and it actually goes down deeper than just the material possessions itself. There's more of an ego-driven mindset that takes root in your brain, and for me specifically. But in the next coming videos, I'm going to share with you guys my experience, and hopefully you guys can take something from it. So for me, minimalism is a lifestyle and ideology that helps you filter out the things that are really important in your life. It's about showing gratitude and contentment for the things that you already own, and it's about knowing that the things that you do own don't define who you are, because the opposite is dangerous. When you collect things, sometimes the things you own end up owning you, as they say. It's about living intentionally with the things that you have, and being a more intentional person with the way you live your life with the things that you own. Minimalism helps you filter out all the unnecessary things, not only the physical things, but relationships, people in your life that could be toxic, making do with less. Minimalism is also about saving money, because when you're not trying to get a new surfboard or a drone or something like that, you save more, to be honest. And that that benefit lets you travel, it lets you spend time with family and friends, and lets you explore new things that you wouldn't have been able to, because you're spending money buying things to feed the ego. And that's also another thing. It's about getting rid of that ego of these items, putting an emotional attachment to things. Getting rid of that ego will free you up. It also declutters your home, so your home is much more open, organized. It's much more useful. It's about living intentionally, you know? So there are many different flavors of minimalism. There are people in Japan who live in less than 200 square feet homes, and you know, it's insane. It's crazy if you think about it, but you know, they make do. They make do with what they have. There are people on Instagram who have less than, you know, 36 articles of clothing. That's, you know, pretty intense. I'm getting to also, you know, to that point. I'm going to show you guys some clothing examples and changes that I've made. But, you know, living more intentionally, making do with less. And the important part here is to also note that it's not necessarily about the total amount of things that you own, you know, which would be nice because you find out, you know, the utilitarian aspect for the things that you have, you know. But for me, for example, I, you know, create art, digital art. There's no way I'm gonna fucking go back to a single monitor. You know, I'm not a savage. You know, I can't do that. You know, so those things, finding, you know, the items that are of use to you of your life, but decluttering, getting rid of the excess. I'm gonna keep my 2 monitors, but I'm gonna get rid of all my books. I'm gonna get rid of my bookcase. Those things had an egotistical attachment to it, and it had a emotional attachment to it. But I know that I can make do without, and I've donated those things. So, you know, these are the examples for me. And this is a perfect example of what not to have. We're in my closet, and we have a bunch of stuff that I have multiples of, including coats and blazers that, you know, I barely even use. But the idea is to get rid of the excess and the duplicates, and so you're left with your favorite items. Multiple pants that I haven't even seen. They're just tucked away in the back of the closet, but after I got rid of the other stuff on top of it, old sweaters, college clothes, even high school clothes, you find the pants that, you know, actually fit you, and, you know, reducing all of those things and replacing it with the stuff that I can actually use makes sense. So, new pants and recycling them. Multiple belts, including this horrendous high school white belt. You know, I was really heavy on belt buckles in high school, and you know, especially with becoming vegan, you come with the conundrum of having leather in your life. But I don't buy any new items that have any animal skin, except these really nice leather boots that I got. But I got them from a thrift store, so they're from the 70s, so I actually keep those things. But basically, I don't want to get any more new stuff, and if I am going to replace it, it's because they've been worn out. Another big issue that I really have is with collections. And when Lucky and I moved out from our first time to our first apartment, I have all of these collections of items and, you know, goodies and swag from E3 and from work. And another one of my collections that I've had since I was probably in middle school was Altoid pants. Altoids. I don't know. I had this idea that I'm gonna have them on a pegboard, and you could flip it open just like an art installation kind of piece. But it's like cans and cans of empty Altoids. So collection is also one of the dangerous habits to form, because you're just hoarding their things for the sake of, you know, a someday use or an art installation piece that you think of. So finally gonna get rid of this. Lucky bugged me on this one. Another ego-driven example. When I was a kid, I only had those shitty plastic hangers, you know, the multicolored 99-cent ones. And I told myself that once I got older, I'm only gonna have all wood hangers. I don't know. I mean, it looks better, you know, the ego again talking. This is an example of what happens when you let it totally control you. You have bags and bags of wooden hangers, you know, to symbolize, I don't know, the elite status of having wood hangers as opposed to plastic. And now that I'm getting rid of all my stuff, I'm left with a shitload of wooden hangers. And it just doesn't make sense when the ego is what's driving it, and that's what happened. Shit. Here. It's a big one. Cintiq box. Why am I keeping it? I mean, for storage, yeah, but I can haul that in. But, you know, just to keep it, it doesn't make sense. Tennis rackets. At our first apartment, Lucky and I had a tennis court, and we played, you know, in the summer, maybe less than 20 times. Still keep it. I mean, these are the things where you kind of have to think of am I going to use this later on? And the what if scenarios. Oh, what if we move out to a place that has a tennis court? What if in our future house, you know, we're going to have a tennis, you know, like a tennis park close by, or hey, if we even have our own tennis court, but we don't even play and we both suck. So what's the point? Sleeping bag. I think I will probably use it for more travel trips. So I try to think of it that if I'm getting rid of one thing and keeping something else that actually has value to it, something useful. So the Cintiq box, get rid of that shit. Okay, so let's start first with minimizing the wardrobe. Now for me, this was kind of hard to get rid of because there's a lot of, once again, sentimental items that, you know, pull on the heartstrings. But I need to find a utilitarian aspect for these objects and for these clothing. And, you know, it might not look like I have a lot of stuff, or it kind of might look like I have a lot. But this is actually version 3 of me doing my donation pass. I actually had a lot more clothes than this, surprisingly. And it's shocking when I put everything together and I realize that there's way too many clothes here that I can wear throughout the whole week. And basically I want to change my mindset to having enough for the week until the next laundry day, and pass on through there. Get rid of the ego about always getting the new clothes and the new style. Just get the things that work, basically. So a lot of the stuff that I realized that I had, a lot of pants, a lot of jeans that I don't need. They stay tucked away in my drawer, and I don't even end up using them. A lot of chinos that I don't use, and a lot of graphic tees. So the graphic tees, I know I can totally get rid of, just because, you know, styles change and I want to look more mature, obviously. But yeah. So case in point, sentimental item. Check this out. GDC 2009. 2009, everybody. I can get rid of this. A lot of my graphic tees I can get rid of. Just simplify, break down, and you know, I prefer simple tees anyways. So a lot of my graphic tees can go away. And I'm going to do a time lapse to show you guys how much left I have with all my clothes. But basically, this is it. I want to get down to the minimum requirement that I need until the next laundry day, and I can start from there. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that, to be honest, for me, when I had all these things and a lot more of my clothes, like they literally surrounded me before, it was just a safety blanket. And the fact that I'm going to get rid of a lot of these things, they're not hidden anymore. The things that I want to wear are visible. And now these things have become my favorite things to wear. So there's no more issue with me figuring out what am I going to wear, you know, during the day, what am I going to wear, you know, at night for my dress clothes. You know, I have my polos and, you know, my long sleeves. It's to find a multi-purpose use for these things. So get rid of the stuff that has no more value, cut that down emotional attachment, and find the things of use. Minimize your space, clean up your clutter, and get rid of the, you know, the space that it takes up in your mind. You know, honestly, it sounds kind of crazy, but I kind of believe that when you keep the the unnecessary things. You know, you're taking up the physical and mental space, you know, in your life. So getting rid of the excess will leave you with the things that you really love, the things that you want to wear, your favorite items.